Civil War, Alex Garland's latest masterpiece. Well, in my opinion, a masterpiece. I think most people really love this movie, but I know a few people who are kind of disturbed by this movie, but and don't want to watch it again, which is unfortunate. But I absolutely love it. I think it's super great. I think Ex Machina might still be my favorite, but it's definitely one of his best ones from most recent years. I've loved almost everything he's done except for Men. That movie kind of disturbed me, but I really like him as a filmmaker. I love his writing, and I'm really glad that he's directing a lot now. I'm a little bummed out that he's not going to direct for the foreseeable future, but I'm sure he'll be back. Going into this movie, I was actually a little worried that this movie was going to be very political. Personally, I don't love to see a bunch of politics in films, especially if it's taking us a very clear side, because things are nuanced, things are complex, and it's just for me personally, I'm not a fan of that. I like to be preached to, and so I was a little worried going into this, but then I remained confident because, as I stated, I really like Alex Garland as a writer too. So I was confident that he wouldn't go that cheap route of just preaching. And sure enough, this movie is very vague almost. The world of the film isn't super explicitly clear of what exactly is right and wrong. It's all pretty it's just presenting to you the world. And the movie's really about war photography, I feel, and journalism. It doesn't really focus on the politics, on war tactics. It doesn't glamorize war whatsoever. There's no cool action sequences. It's more just intense and horrific, and I really like that. I wasn't expecting it to be so focused on war photography, but it really was, and I think that's what disturbs people, because usually when we see R-rated action, it's usually, we're rooting for a hero. We're rooting for some sort of a hero, anti-hero, whatever, and it makes action more digestible, I think. And in this film, you're watching it from the lens of from war photographers, so they're a bit detached. That's the way I see it. At least they seem a bit. They don't have some sort of like sadistic pleasure they're deriving from it. It's not like Nightcrawler, where he literally just doesn't care about people dying. He just wants to capture it for the shot, for the money. Here, the characters do care, but I imagine it just comes with the job. And I could already imagine that Alex Garland got really interested in war photography and came up with this idea to throw these characters in to an America in a civil war and just see what comes from those characters in that situation. And I think it's very entertaining, very riveting, very engaging. It's really intense, and I loved it. The characters are super interesting. I think the characters is the point of the film. Yes, it's war, it's anti-war. I've heard Alex Garland speak about this, that this film is very anti-war. And it's true, it's not glamorizing war whatsoever. But it's very focused on its characters. And its characters, I think, is the main story. As I stated, it's not about politics. It's not about the left, the right, who's wrong. Just for sure, what's established, and I think is clear, is that the president is the villain. And something that, again, I didn't expect to see was the parallels of Kirsten Dunst's character Lee and Jesse's character, played by Kaylee Spaney, I think it's pronounced. And Lee Lee is a character who's a very famous war photographer, and she's been doing this for decades. And you just see it in her face, in her acting, in the things she says, in her behavior, that she's jaded. She's very war torn, and she still is passionate about her job and passionate about trying to make a difference. But I mean, clearly she has PTSD. Like, it's very clear. And there's a sequence, actually, without saying specifics, there's a sequence where she's reminiscing on her past jobs. And wow, very horrific, very hard to watch, but it's done so well. And I think again, it paints that picture of the reality of taking these photographs and what it takes. And Jessie, the young photographer, she's just starting out, and she's very bright eyed and very passionate and naive, frankly. But what I really like about the writing is that no one's ever portrayed as dumb, unreasonable, or it's not cheap. It's not cheap writing. It's not lazy writing. They're flawed, but they have common sense. And unfortunately, I think so many characters in writing these days, it's you just see that the characters make decisions for the plot, for the drama, and it's just like, do they really have to be that dumb, that unreasonable? So again, I really love the writing, and all the acting is amazing, all of it, all of them, and very entertaining. Every character is very very they have their own unique personality, and I think they're all likable. But again, flawed. No one's perfect. Just to wrap this up, the last act is incredible. It's an amazing action sequence, but again, without feeling like this is cool. Just more like, holy crap, this is insane. Yeah, they're just going through the streets of Washington D.C. and they're following a strike force, some sort of military strike force that's going to infiltrate the White House. And I just found that super entertaining, super just cool. I personally find it really cool and interesting when a movie is like a different perspective of the White House, and in this particular case, infiltrating the White House, not protecting it. And I think I've never really seen that before. It's always protecting the White House. And the way it's shot is so good because we never have the usual military meetup explaining to the audience what the plan is for the last act. Like we're just thrown into that scenario with the characters, and we're just following it. We're following the characters, follow the strike force, and it's just, since we don't know what's going on, we don't know what the plan is. You're just watching completely jaw dropped, and what I love also about this entire film, but especially the last sequence, is that the sense of danger is so real. You never feel like any character has plot armor. Like the dangers of that real life holds, that I imagine these brave war photographers deal with every day. It's so real in the film too. It's not, you don't feel like it's cheap, like, oh, of course the hero's gonna make it, or of course this person, like, I won't say who does make it, but it's realistic, I think. And dark, and which I personally love. So to wrap this up, I really love this movie. I'm really happy that it's number one right now in America. I didn't expect that from an A24 film, but hey, they're an incredible studio, and I love it. And I hope it continues to be number one, but we'll see. And I just hope this movie continues to have the conversation of the types of films that can be popular. You know, with this high level of filmmaking, it's really great. It's really inspiring, and I hope more people check it out. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What you thought, and if you loved it, if you didn't, I imagine you did. But yeah.